Commission Christian Radio presents Timothy, Faithful Servant by Maureen Long. Episode 2, Tragedy Strikes.
Timothy was loyal to both our Jewish faith and to his father, whom he loved and admired. Alex was a bold character, forthright and decisive in business as a corn merchant, which is why we lived so well in both the Jewish and Greek circles.
Mother, I'm a bit worried about Timothy.
Why, Eunice?
Well, his upbringing has been left to you and me so much. His father is away a lot in business. Timothy misses him. I know he wishes he could have his father's boldness, but he doesn't see much of him.
Oh, I wouldn't be too worried, Eunice. Timothy's a studious child at heart, I know. But Alex sees him as much as possible and takes him out meeting people. Timothy loves the synagogue and chatting to people there. He'll find his own feet and his own level.
So I stopped worrying and decided that Tim, as I called him, was more of a faithful follower than a leader. Maybe that's why he was later to become so invaluable to Paul and the other apostles. Of course, he was only a small child when news came from Jerusalem that John the Baptist was in the desert baptizing people and proclaiming that the Messiah was about to come. The longed-for Jewish Messiah was again top of our nation's hopes.
Did you know old Benjamin's out and about again after his accident? Saw him in the market. Seemed much better.
Oh, how lovely. We do so miss his visits and seeing him at the synagogue.
You won't have to wait much longer. He's coming here to talk to you this evening. He's some exciting news from Jerusalem.
Whatever can that be?
Oh, I don't know. The marketplace was packed with merchants from all over now that the weather has improved. There was so much noise and talking we had to shout to make ourselves heard. Oh, I forgot. I've a present for you both.
Oh, and what's that, Alex? Don't keep me in suspense.
Alex was such a good husband and would often bring us things home when the merchants arrived, especially from Jerusalem. He knew we loved spices and perfumes from home. He produced a big bale of cloth.
Purple cloth from Philippi. We've never had that before.
I've never dared afford it before, but you both deserve a treat now and again. What would I do without you both? Caring for our little son, running the house, entertaining my business guests. I do like to let you know how much I love you both. Timothy! Timothy, where are you? I have a present for you too. Listen.
When Timothy unwrapped the little wooden flute, he was puzzled, being such a small child. But as soon as Alex taught him how to blow it to make a noise, there was no peace until he was tucked up in his bed, with the little gift safely beside him. I knew that Alex had bought it from the Jewish merchant, and was so pleased that my dear husband helped to bring up our son in both our cultures. As soon as the meal was over and Timothy in bed, we tidied up in time for Ben's visit. He came in such an excited rush.
Lewis, Eunice, Alex, how are you all? I've heard some wonderful news today.
Ben, it's lovely to see you. Take off your cloak and sit down. Maybe offer you something to eat and drink.
No, thank you. I have eaten, but the food for my spirit is sufficient to satisfy me for a long time to come. There were Jewish merchants in the marketplace today. I expect Alex has told you.
Not only that, but he bought us both wonderful presents of cloth and for Timothy, a little shepherd's flute. If you'd come an hour sooner, you would have been deafened. Thankfully, his excitement has exhausted him. He's asleep.
I doubt whether I will sleep tonight. We have been waiting for the Messiah for so long.
He's come?
Well, not yet, but he has been born, and his time will soon be here.
What do you mean? He's born?
Do you remember years ago a story going around about Zachariah, the temple priest? God told him he was to have a son, but he and his wife Elizabeth were very old, and he couldn't believe it. So God struck him dumb until their child John was born.
Oh, yes. And then when the child was delivered, he found his voice and told everyone that his son was to be a deeply religious man who would live a simple life and do the Lord's will.
I remember. He also told everyone that his wife's cousin, Mary from Nazareth, was also with child of the Holy Ghost. That shocked everyone at the temple in Jerusalem, and if he had not been so fervent, he would have been banned from his priestly duties for heresy.
Apparently, just after, there were more stories of a baby born when the parents went to the city of Bethlehem for the census.
And the Messiah is supposed to stem from Bethlehem, of King David's line, and kings were to come to offer him gifts.
Well, all that happened, for strangers from the east brought him gold and other costly gifts. They must have come in handy, as the parents had to flee to Egypt.
The slaughter of the innocents. Herod the king had many children killed when he heard what had happened. He couldn't stand for any other king but himself.
That's right. But the child was also brought myrrh.
Myrrh. Oh, I understand. Myrrh speaks of us of sorrow. Mary must have been very sad that so many babies were slaughtered because of her baby.
And the visitors also gave him incense for his priestly duties.
Exactly. He will be so special. John says he's not worthy to undo his shoelaces, but he will bring justice and peace and save his people from all their sins.
Alex worked quietly on his ledgers in the corner, but I knew he was interested in our conversation. He always told me the Jewish gossip with an unbelieving smile on his face, but he never poked fun at my beliefs. In fact, Mother and I had prayed for years that he would adopt them, but he preferred to keep all his options open, like most Greek men. In later years, we learned more of this Jesus of Nazareth, and eventually the stories of his death and resurrection reached us. However, it was after the Feast of Pentecost of that year that he became real to us in Lystra. It was a thrilling time. Several Jews spoke of their experiences in the holy city, and fervour was high. Our priests could not discount their sincerity, and they were allowed to stay and recount their testimonies. Some, of course, were our own synagogue members, but others were travelling further on to their homes. Our friend Benjamin spoke out too.
The amazing thing is that our God has used those who had travelled to the feast to bring home and spread the good news of Jesus Christ. One friend has said to me, it was as if God had planted the seeds in Jerusalem, and now his people were travelling back to all parts of the Roman and Greek world to spread the news and plant out those seeds.
No, God hasn't been idle for the last 500 years. He's using the Roman roads, the Greek language, and all the trade routes to spread the news of Jesus. Isn't it wonderful that we live in this world where he can use everything for his glory? There are Jews and Jewish synagogues everywhere, in Greek and Roman cities and colonies. Now God's spreading his word to them.
One day Benjamin came with good and bad news.
More pilgrims travelled to the feast, and they've brought home bits and pieces of news. Since our Feast of Pentecost, the Christians in Jerusalem have been persecuted, and the temple priests and authorities are trying to suppress the new movement. However, the Christians, as they are now known, have fled to other cities and towns, and everywhere they are taking the good news of Jesus with them. For every one the priests force out, many more are converted.
That's wonderful news. But I feel sorry for the people who are having to suffer. We must pray for them.
Alex still found our exuberance amusing, but the good news could not be suppressed, and everywhere the Christians went they preached and taught in the synagogues and made new converts. We heard about Saul of Tarsus, who raged against the new wave of religious fervour, but then something dramatic happened to him. Many years later, when he had become a good friend of ours, he told us his story.
You know, I was brought up as a Pharisee, a strict Jew. This new so-called way was something abhorrent to me. I believed the people who were preaching it were not only deluded, but dangerous. They had to be stopped, and I believed that I was the one to do it. I persuaded the leaders in Jerusalem to provide me with letters to the authorities in different cities, authorizing me to do whatever necessary to stop this nonsense about Jesus from Nazareth, the risen Messiah. That included putting them to death if necessary, and I believed it would be. You see, they were fearless. Some of them stood before our council and openly defied them. One was stoned to death in my presence, and I was ready to stone more. I set out for Damascus one day with a few followers, and about midday I was stopped in my tracks. A bright light shone about me. I was blinded and fell off my horse. Then I heard a voice say, "Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me?" When I heard the voice, I knew that my life up to that point had itself been a delusion, that this was the voice of God. I said, "Who are you, Lord?" And he replied, "I am Jesus, the one you are persecuting. Now get up and go into the city. There you'll be told what to do." I realized I couldn't see, so I was led by the others into Damascus. I was blind for 3 days, and I didn't eat or drink during that time. Then the Lord sent a follower called Ananias to me, and he told me that the Lord would restore my sight, that he had important work for me, Saul of Tarsus, to do.
Later, Saul would change his name to Paul. Imagine a Jew taking a Greek name. Of course, all this took time to reach us, and it came in little snippets, but we relished each one. Our excitement rose later when we heard that Paul and Barnabas were travelling all over the place to tell the story of Jesus. How we prayed that he would visit us here in Lystra. However, before that time came, something else happened, and our lives were devastated.
Mother, where are you?
Here, my son. What is it? Sit down, tell me.
It's Father.
There's been an accident. Your husband was ambushed by robbers. His horse was startled and threw him. Somebody's bringing the horse back.
But not my husband. You mean...
Mother, he did not suffer. It was so quick. He was thrown down the ravine. Where's grandmother?
Gone to the market.
She mustn't hear this from others. I must go and find her.
I'll stay with your mother, Tim.
Thank you, guys. I'll be back as soon as I can.
I was stunned. I couldn't take it in. My family happiness was destroyed. When my mother came home, I just collapsed onto my bed and remembered nothing for days. What would happen now? As far as I was concerned, I didn't even want to live. But I knew I had a responsibility to my son and the business, though how I was to carry them out, I did not know. But God would find a way.
In episode 2 of Timothy, Faithful Servant, by Maureen Long, the narrator Eunice was played by Jeanette McCormick. Other parts were played by members of the Commission drama team. The series was produced in Commission Studios in Belfast by Colin Flanagan. Episode 3 is entitled The Gods Come to Lystra.